let's get into the LTNC Q3 2024 ER. So I guess how I want to start this off is I am an investor. I've been invested for over 3 years. I have helped the company. I've done it, without, being monetarily paid. In a lot of aspects, I haven't even brought up with what I've helped the company with in some instances. A lot of people, when they are, interacting with people of higher up, of like executives, CEOs, people with, alleged esteem, they like to brag about it. They like to show, we talked to this person, or we did this, yada, yada, yada. That's not how I operate. That's not how I ever operate. When it comes to the business world, I'm all business. I'm serious about my money. I've been blessed to live a life where I've been in the rooms with many people from walks of life, from different wealth, different business backgrounds. For me, I've been around a lot of millionaires before, with a lot of different entrepreneurial backgrounds who have made money out of nothing. I've been mentored by a lot of those people. I've studied a lot of those people, and when it comes to investing, I take it very seriously, and I want to be taken seriously in the investing world. That's my overall goal. Outside of LTNC and everything like that, I have aspirations to become a higher level investor with a platform, and that comes with a responsibility. That comes with a lot of work and stuff, but that also comes with being honest with yourself, with your investments, and really looking at what's in front of you. Obviously, hope is not an investment strategy. We understand that. You can have hope, but you must use your brain, and you must use logic as well. And so I wanted to christen that and state that before I get into my comments about LTNC, the Q3 report, and such, because a lot of people on Twitter and like to not even tag me or mention me, but they always speak on my name without wanting to actually have dialogue with me in a respectable manner. And so that's what I have to deal with as well. People, just yapping in the DMs and yapping in the mentions and stuff without mentioning my name, when I get it back to me that they're talking about me because of how I objectively talk about LTNC. And you see my position down there. I'm down almost $17,000. I have over 2 million shares in the stock. I've been a part of it a very long time. And so for anybody thinking that I'm looking to take this company down, looking to talk bad about the company because of what I see, that's just not right. It's not accurate. Everything's all business for me. So I wanted to make this quick, but I needed to get that out the way before I get into this ER, because I needed to get that off my chest. So finally, to start it, LTNC Q3 24 ER, I have a couple links here that we're going to pop open to. We're going to look at the actual earnings report, but just some notes. We have 200,000 in cash, and in the third quarter, we have about 7,000 in inventory. Again, these are round numbers. We'll look at them when we actually open up the filing. So we're sitting around like about $1 million in tangible assets, cash assets. We're going to look at the deal with Legacy. Contrary to what the first initial ER that we did get on the Legacy deal, at the time and on the surface, it almost looked like a too good to be true deal with what we had to give up to get the facility and such. But obviously, there's always fine print, and you have to believe nothing what you hear and half of what you see. That's the old saying. That's what a lot of old investors say about the stock market, and I think that is also true in this case. So when we look at the ER and what it costs to buy Legacy, it was about the 101 billion shares, I believe, or it could have been a little bit more. Obviously, it's 750 million that went to Legacy. Brad got at 200 million, I believe, and then Scott got 200 million. So looking at 1.2 billion, I guess, and the 25 million to buy Legacy that we'll see on the balance sheet for equity investment. But before I open up the links, I just wanted to go over very briefly the two gematria codes that I have. And, it just sums up to where we're at as a company and moving forward. We won't get the Q4 reports on LTNC until the middle of May. The middle of February, 45 days after the quarter ends. So the first one is 2025 is Make or Break Labor Smart Inc. LTNC, 331 English Ordinal and 133 English Reduction. And we got 2025 is Make or Break. It's 137 English Ordinal. That's the 33rd prime. That's important because that's where the story is for LTNC right now. It's Make or Break. 2025 is Make or Break. And it's going to start with that Q4 report that we won't see until 2025. So I'm now going to switch my screen over to the actual filing, and we'll look at the filing, okay? Let's look at the filing. All right. Got the filing up. Utility door open. It's raining and it's snowing in Salt Lake right now. So, okay, we're going to go through the quarterly report as succinctly and briefly as possible. First thing I want to bring out the outstanding shares. It's saying right here we're at 15 billion, 15.6 billion current period. There is a little bit of a discrepancy. We'll get down at the a little bit later. It's saying 16 billion. So in my eyes, I would go off that number, the highest number I see. So it's going to be 16 billion in outstanding shares, and I'll show you that as we go down. There was a lot of things that did not change. Still have the same transfer agent. The preferred shares still the same. We're still at 51, so that hasn't changed. When you look at the private placements and the share issues and whatnot, we did raise quite a bit of capital. Looking at the report, talking to people, understanding, people said they bought in or they were going to buy in. The company did raise quite a bit of funds, and you'll see in the earnings report it was about $2 million that the company raised. And a lot of it was just through these. There's a lot of names on here that a lot of people within the LTNC community would understand. We have Guinea, we have Gold, we have Gold, Maurice, we have Hattie, we have Haka, we have the Figueroas getting their services rendered. We also have Javier, we have Chuck down in there. So there was a lot of people that put up a lot of money, for private placements or their services rendered. Going. Tom still has his outstanding balance of 127 due to himself for that loan back in 2023 for inventory. I do believe that should probably be transferred over to shares at some point. I think that's fair enough. He got his pink. So I think that 127,000 in LTNC shares just to wipe that debt off the book is is something that I would be on board for. So then this goes through some of the investments made. We've went through this in the past, some past previous videos. So this is the issuer's facilities. A lot of the stuff we already know, like Labor Smart Inc. and its subsidiary Next Gen Beverages utilizes a network of 3PL service providers in the continental U.S. for warehousing and logistics. Our primary fulfillment center is located in Flowery Branch, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. We also utilize Federal Express as for our small parcel and LTL shipping, and Amazon for distribution logistics. Our manufacturing facilities are located in South Florida, Georgia, Las Vegas, Nevada, and North Carolina. Then we have LTNC through its new subsidiary, Illumination Holdings. It's a distribution arm. Legacy Distribution has a network of over 5,000 retail locations across Colorado, Southern Wyoming, and South Dakota. Legacy has combined experience of 175 collective years in the Colorado DSD market and includes many proprietary names, brand products that LTNC is pleased to now carry. So that's just a little bit of what Legacy is bringing to the table. Going down. So they finally added Brad to the CEO, co-CEO, director role. Hopefully in sometime in the next year that they're going to just make the full switch over to Brad. I'm excited to see what he can do and where he can take LTNC further in the future for where we need to go. I think for what we need to do and what we want to do in the beverage world, Brad needs to be that type of guy. So there's a lot hinging on what Legacy and Brad can do for LTNC moving forward. We made a big bet on those guys, so hopefully it pays out. There's a lot of lawsuits. Nothing really has come up lawsuits wise. They're still getting sued by the PFL, but according to the filings, they're not too worried about it. And there was also some rumblings on Twitter that they're going to get some resolution soon with the Gamer Shot and Jason and stuff. That's what Joe's intimated under a tweet. Again, believe half what you see, nothing what you hear. If anything comes to fruition from that, that'd be great, but I'm not counting on it. And I really don't think it matters what they do with the Gamer Shot, Jason, and what they do with the Gamer Shot and whatnot. That's not our product anymore. We need to really just be focusing on what we have in front of us. We have our line of products we already have. We have Legacy. We have Go Fast. Let's worry about that instead of worrying about what Jason and the Gamer Shot is going on. I think that's a losing battle now. Even if we do win, we're spending time, money, and effort on something that I don't think matters too much. All right. So let's get into the assets. So ending the period September 30th, 2024. This is what the cash we have on hand, 250,000. For accounts receivable, we have 800,000. The total current assets, we have 3.7 million. And then this is where you see Illumination and Legacy pop up. And to be honest, I didn't want to see them pop up on this side of the balance sheet. That's not necessarily what we were told, or I should say, if they were going to pop up on this side of the balance sheet, I was hoping we would see something on the cash flows as well. And what I mean by that, and let me transfer over to the PR that we received. All right. Let me open this up, a new tab. And we're going to transfer over to this tab. So when we transfer over to this tab, and this is why storytelling, communication, being truthful, being honest about, to your shareholders about what deals are and what you're closing is important, because this is going back to August. This is almost 4-5 months of this before we're seeing the results now on the ER. It's about 4 or 5 months of essentially a lot of people thinking that Legacy and Illumination were going to be bringing in some type of revenue this year, especially when you go to the PR and at the bottom it's saying the acquisition initially announced through a letter of intent July 23rd, 2024, officially closed on August 13th, 2024, integrating Illumination Holdings' extensive distribution network and brand portfolio into LTNC operations. This network, which spans over 5,000 retail locations across Colorado, Southern Wyoming, and South Dakota, is projected to increase LTNC consolidated revenues by more than $25 million on an annualized basis. This is when the deal closed. They left it at that. They didn't intimate this is what they hope to have happen for LTNC in 2025. They didn't intimate that this is a scale-up process. They didn't intimate that, Legacy is going from we're starting from the ground up with Legacy. How it was intimated to me and how I felt like it was intimated at the shareholders meeting was that Legacy was almost near ready-made facility that fell down on hard times due to the Toronto exchange requirements, bad contracts here and there, just bad management that sometimes can put companies that aren't necessarily that bad off into bankruptcy for these reasons or not. So when we closed this deal, and for the longest time, a lot of people were under the impression that, okay, they're probably already making a couple million a year. It's just going to take a little bit to ramp them up, but we should be seeing something on, the Q3 ER like we were told. And when we look at the cash flows, when we go back to the ER, we go back to the quarter report, that is not the case. We're starting from ground zero with Legacy, and we're building it back up. And not only that, we invested a lot of money in it. We took out some, credit for it. And obviously, yes, we get the equity from that. Yes, that helps our equity, but that was not what the story was told. And that's why, on Twitter, I was, visibly, displeased, because if they came to us from the beginning with the correct information, I could live with it. I can defend it, and I can at least, formulate a better investment thesis for myself and other investors within the stock. But with how it is dropped, it's tough to really say, too much on it. It's tough to really value anything. Because we just don't know. And there was confusion on what percentage of the Q3 sales, even for if it was a month and a half, are actually legacies and locked-ins. They didn't separate those numbers, so we don't know which, where the revenue's coming from. Did locked-in only make 100,000 this past quarter, and legacy bring in 500,000? Was it split? Was it 60-40? So there's a lot of questions that remain that still need to be answered. And I'm going to go back to the ER. All right, we're going to keep going. Live. So we have total assets with them on the books. We do have a distribution facility now, so that is a positive. Our book value is positive now. So we have total assets of 33 million, almost 34 million, and then our liabilities almost 28 million. All right, and so you go down to the bottom, you'll see the total shareholder deficit. We're actually positive. So, we have $6.1 million in positive equity, which is, if somebody's looking for a positive, that is a positive right there. We're finally, for the first time in maybe history of LTNC, at least with Locked In and Next Level involved, when it became a beverage company, we have positive equity. So when you look at the assets and liabilities, that's something that you can say, okay, it looks a little bit better now. I can get behind that. And we have enough inventory to sell if it can be sold. So that's some good stuff right there. Now let's get into sales. What I just brought up. So this is for the sales for the whole quarter ending September 30th. All right. So 600,000 total sales. The cost of sales, another 600,000. It was a gross profit of almost $8,000. The cost of sales way too high. I mean, we got to figure something out with the margins. Volume. We're not going to be able to get the volume from just shareholder buys, and it's just a continual thing where we're getting at an inflection point where the volume is going to have to come from the outside world. Hopefully it's in Q4, and hopefully we see it in middle February. But when I opened up the quarter report, I wasn't expecting this. I got to be honest. I was not expecting this. And there's some conflicting information out there saying, Legacy has a percentage of those sales. And if that's the case, I would like to see those separated to see where we're actually at. A lot of ambiguity. On the positive side, some expenses are going down, which is nice. Professional fees got cut significantly. Advertising marketing got cut, but hopefully that's for the better. Hopefully they just got more efficient with the marketing. So that's solid to see. And and hopefully we're on pace to have a lower net loss from operations when it comes to the year end. So right now we're at almost 2 million a year to date with net loss operations, and hopefully we can keep that around that number at the end of Q4. And so this is what I was talking about. On the top they have 15.6 billion, I believe. That's what they brought up for outstanding shares. Yeah, but when you look at down here, keep going, we're sitting at 16.4. So I don't know. I would just go off that number. So we're at, if you were doing any type of valuation, I would go off that 16 billion. And so if you actually took the if you took LTNC's book value right now, you take our positive equity of 6 million, you divide that by 16 billion. Again, book value is just really what the company is essentially worth according to their equity. All right. It's not really taking in revenues, projected revenues, no really forward looking. But in this case, we have some PRs that have some forward looking revenues and stuff, but I'm at the point where I have to see it on paper for me to believe it, Believe nothing you hear, half of what you see, and I think it's playing out. So if we have 6 million in shareholder equity, positive shareholder equity, you divide that by 16 billion, we're looking about at a fair value, book value in the trips, in like the mid trips range. So when you look at the price right now, we're sitting at 0017. Yeah, we're trading at elevated levels. We could still trade at those levels if the company decides not to continue diluting, we actually see some revenue coming in. People get more excited. We could stay at that price, and the market, the stock price can actually grow into the market cap, right? The market cap can actually grow into the stock price. But just to be honest, if I'm going straight off book value, the value is in the trips. And so when somebody says, oh, I don't know why the company is trading at this price, we should be higher, there really should be no surprises. It's pretty self-explanatory where the company is currently at, and we hardly deserve the price we're at right now. I'll take the price we're at right now. I'll take the elevated level because, obviously I'm bagged myself. I want the price to go up, but being honest with myself and being honest with people who want honest analysts, the values in the trips right now. It is what it is. That's not bashing the company. That's just being honest. That's not being negative. I'm just providing you the information. And if you want to go and take the positive equity of the company and divide it by the shares outstanding, you can get your book value valuation. It's not that hard. Do some math. So this is when we get now to the cash flows. And this is what really grounded my gears, because, the cash flow, I was hopefully, seeing some, revenue come in and out, but we don't have that. It was a 25 million investment in Illumination Holdings, not a 25 million revenue boost, right? And, those are completely different segments of the balance sheet, all right? And people need to understand that when they're investing in other companies, to understand what the difference is between equity investment and revenue. Okay. So it was about 25 million investment in Illumination Holdings. And what I also might add is when you go to the bottom, cash flows for financing activities, proceeds from issuance of common stock. So we did raise over $2 million in cash, right? So that's great. And proceeds to sell a redeemable stock. So we're looking at, $2.5 million we raised from LTNC. That's a lot of money. And so, and also to see only $200,000 in cash at the end of the period, that's not always the best of signs. That means there's a lot of cash burn going on. I understand a lot of it did go to investments of Illumination Holdings, but when you're somebody who looks at the filings, who looks at the PRs, because I'm trying to be an informed investor, the story doesn't fully add up. All right. If they said from the beginning, we're investing in this company and hope to see $25 million revenue in 2025 and beyond, that's different than trying to intimate that this company is almost ready made. It's a solid deal. And we're start hitting the ground running. And that's not the case. Now, I guess a positive from this, now since we have equity with Illumination, that means we can now get more credit. So increase in line of credit, 10 million. So now we have $10 million and increase in line credit, which means we can be more flexible. All right. And capital allocation, if we know what we're doing, we can take that credit. So hopefully they can utilize that in the right type of ways, because until I see it in the quarter four reports in middle of February, I can't really say that we're making a whole lot of money anywhere. Especially when they had projections of $30 million plus in 2025 from the shareholders meeting, when we're sitting at under $1 million in quarter three of 2024. And then when you look at what the top line revenue is supposed to be for quarter four with that snack industry, they're saying they got 5 million coming in on a pre-sold deal, and they have another deal coming that probably won't close 2025. So if we end the year with that snack investment, 5 million in revenue, that's a 6x from 5 to 30 to the end of the year. Is it possible? Yes. Am I going to sit here and say, we're going to do it? Like, we're 100% do it. I believe we're going to do it. I can't say that. Not at this moment. I have to see quarter 4 now. I'm taking it quarter to quarter basis now with this company, because really, when you look at the PRs and stuff like that, you can only take that for a grain of salt. The deals are happening, but the speed at what they're happening and the actual numbers that are transpiring, tough to actually line up. So that's what I think on that. And really, that's essentially it. I've talked on this a lot more than where I really wanted to talk about this. Obviously, executives have been buying shares at the sub double twos and stuff like that. It's helped keeping the price up. There's some positives here, some positives there. But I'm just a little displeased right now with the storytelling, the communication. And, people ask me all the time in the DMs, be positive, be a team player. And I'm still am being a team player. There's a lot of things that I still don't talk about that I know, that I was told, or anything like that. I want this to work for everybody. But I just feel foolish and like a clown when I defend the company against other people, and I try to help other people gain perspective of what the company's trying to do, and I can't get the full story. Especially when I've had conversations with people in management. I've spent time and money helping people understand their investment, because it's kind of disheartening when I hear investors say, oh, I don't even remember them bringing up $25 million in revenue. I didn't remember them bringing up any type of revenue at all. And that's disheartening, because are they even paying attention to what's happening with their investment? Or are they just blindly following along? And with my community, I'm trying to build solid investors so they can help feed their families and themselves for a long time. And if I have to take myself seriously and be honest. For a second, I didn't even want to talk about this ER today. I was kind of displeased, but I still did anyway, and I still wanted to get a lot off my chest. So overall, not necessarily happy. Not necessarily happy because of what the numbers they've shown. It's that the communication got us to this point where it didn't have to be. We could have still been in this spot. But if they were honest about it and they had months to say something, I would have been okay. Because where else would we would have done? What else would we have been able to do? If we had to buy the company, buy legacy to get us out of this hole, and that was our home run swing to do it, that's fine. Be honest about it. Don't say that they're going to help bring in 25 million on an annualized basis, with no timetable, with no nuance to it, and think people are just going to shrug that off, that actually follow their investment seriously. I read the PRs. I read the filings. So you're not passing that on me. And so when they try to say, we're shareholder base and, we're trying to be honest and stuff like that, I don't listen to it anymore, because it's not true. I don't need a spaces anymore. I don't need any of that. I'd rather not even talk on Twitter for real. I'd rather them just do the job, and that's being real. Forget all that. Forget all the social media. Forget all the pumping and get all that. We are at a precipice right now, and they need to see that. And they might not watch this, but it's on record that I'm not happy. The communication has been piss poor, and the storytelling has been piss poor all year. And it's not about the numbers. It's about, are you leading your investors as a leader in the right direction? All right. If we're already stuck in this anyway, so if we're going at the end of the cliff, let us know that we're going at the end of the cliff. What we're going to do anyway. But so just to wrap this up for LTNC, we're making a big bet on Legacy, Brad, and hopefully when they make the switch over to him being full-time CEO and stuff, that we can really make something happen with LTNC. But right now, it's tough to really value the company and what they can do at this juncture long term until we actually see some money coming in and some things actually tangibly play out like they said they would. They haven't yet. So with that being said, I'm done with LTNC today. We'll talk about them when the next quarter stop happens.